A doctor is warning seniors over 60 about a hidden poison that may be silently damaging your nerves and triggering neuropathy symptoms without you even realizing it. What you're about to hear could explain the tingling, burning, or numbness you've been experiencing and why it seems to be getting worse over time. Before we go any further, I need to be clear that this video is for educational purposes only and is not medical advice. Everything I'm sharing today comes from clinical observations, peer-reviewed research, and warnings from healthcare professionals who work with seniors every single day. If you're experiencing any symptoms we discuss, please consult with your own doctor for personalized guidance. Now, doctors and researchers across the country are noticing a disturbing pattern. Millions of seniors are being exposed to this nerve-damaging substance daily, and most have no idea it's happening. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is neuropathy? In simple terms, neuropathy is damage to your peripheral nerves, which are the nerves that carry signals between your brain, spinal cord, and the rest of your body. Think of your nervous system like an electrical wiring system in a house. Your brain is the control panel, and nerves are the wires carrying messages to every room. When those wires get damaged, the messages get disrupted, delayed, or completely scrambled. That's when you start experiencing symptoms. The most common signs include tingling sensations, often described as pins and needles, a burning feeling especially in your feet and hands, numbness that makes it hard to feel temperature or touch, and sharp shooting pains that can feel almost electric. Some people describe it as feeling like they're walking on broken glass or wearing thick socks when they're actually barefoot. Now here's why seniors over 60 are particularly vulnerable. As we age, our nerves naturally lose some of their ability to regenerate and repair themselves. The protective coating around nerves, called myelin, can deteriorate over time. Your body's ability to fight inflammation decreases. Your circulation may not be as efficient as it once was. And perhaps most importantly, you've had decades of exposure to various substances, medications, and lifestyle factors that can accumulate and create a perfect storm for nerve damage. But there's one particular culprit that doctors are increasingly concerned about, and it's something that most seniors encounter every single day. The worst poison for your nerves after 60 is chronic elevated blood sugar, particularly from excess refined sugars and carbohydrates that spike glucose levels repeatedly throughout the day. Now, I know what you might be thinking. You might say, but I don't have diabetes. And that's exactly the problem. You don't need a diabetes diagnosis for high blood sugar to slowly and silently damage your nerves. Doctors call this prediabetes or metabolic dysfunction, and it's incredibly common in people over 60. Studies suggest that up to 50% of neuropathy cases occur in people who don't have a formal diabetes diagnosis. The damage happens gradually, invisibly, and by the time symptoms appear, significant nerve deterioration may have already occurred. So why is this particularly dangerous after 60? Well, as we age, our cells become more resistant to insulin, the hormone that helps sugar get out of your bloodstream and into your cells where it can be used for energy. This means that even if you're eating the same foods you've always eaten, your blood sugar may be spiking higher and staying elevated longer than it did when you were younger. Your pancreas becomes less efficient. Your muscles, which normally absorb a lot of glucose, may have decreased due to natural aging or reduced activity. And your liver's ability to regulate blood sugar becomes less precise. All of this means that seniors are walking around with higher average blood sugar levels than they realize, and every spike is like a chemical assault on delicate nerve tissue. Let me explain how this poison actually damages your nerves, because understanding the mechanism makes the danger very real. When you have consistently elevated blood sugar, several destructive processes begin happening simultaneously. First, excess glucose in your bloodstream gets converted into substances called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs. These compounds accumulate in nerve tissue and essentially caramelize your nerves from the inside, making them stiff, inflexible, and unable to transmit signals properly. Think of it like pouring syrup on electrical wires. Eventually, they stop conducting electricity efficiently. Second, high blood sugar causes massive inflammation throughout your body, and your peripheral nerves are particularly vulnerable to inflammatory damage. It's like your nerves are constantly being bathed in an irritating chemical solution. Third, elevated glucose damages the tiny blood vessels that supply oxygen and nutrients to your nerves. These are called the vasa nervorum, and when they're compromised, your nerves essentially begin to starve and suffocate. Without adequate blood flow, nerve cells can't repair themselves, can't generate energy, and eventually begin to die. Fourth, high blood sugar disrupts the delicate balance of minerals that nerves need to fire properly. And here's why symptoms often start in your feet and hands first. These are the longest nerves in your body, which means they're the most vulnerable because signals have to travel the greatest distance. They're also the furthest from your heart, so they get the least circulation. When nerve damage begins, it typically starts at the ends of these long nerves and slowly works its way up. That's why so many people first notice symptoms in their toes or fingertips. The nerves are literally fraying like electrical wires from the outside in. Now, there are some warning signs that seniors should never ignore, and I want you to pay close attention because early awareness can make all the difference. If you're experiencing burning pain in your feet that gets worse at night, that's a classic sign. Many people describe this as feeling like their feet are on fire when they get into bed. If you've noticed a loss of balance or coordination, especially when walking in the dark or on uneven surfaces, this could indicate that the nerves responsible for proprioception are being affected. Persistent pins and needles sensations, particularly if they're symmetrical in both feet or both hands, should raise a red flag. Unusual sensitivity to touch, where even bed sheets or socks feel painful against your skin, is another concerning sign. Muscle weakness, especially difficulty lifting your toes or gripping objects, indicates that motor nerves are being compromised. And perhaps most concerning, if you're losing the ability to feel pain, temperature, or injury in your extremities, this means significant nerve damage has already occurred. The key here is early awareness, not panic. Recognizing these signs early gives you the opportunity to take action before damage becomes extensive or permanent. So what increases your exposure to this nerve-damaging poison? This is where self-reflection becomes crucial. Many people do this every single day without realizing the cumulative impact. Starting your morning with sweetened coffee, juice, or a pastry creates an immediate blood sugar spike. Eating meals heavy in refined carbohydrates like white bread, pasta, and rice causes repeated glucose surges throughout the day. Snacking on crackers or cookies between meals prevents your blood sugar from ever returning to baseline. Drinking soda or sweet tea hits your bloodstream rapidly. Having dessert regularly, especially in the evening when your metabolism is naturally slower. Beyond diet, a sedentary lifestyle dramatically increases risk because physical activity is one of the most effective ways to lower blood sugar naturally. When you sit for hours without movement, glucose stays elevated longer. Poor sleep quality disrupts hormones that regulate blood sugar. Chronic stress keeps cortisol elevated, which continuously raises blood sugar. And certain long-term prescription medications can affect blood sugar levels or deplete nutrients essential for nerve health. Even poor gut health can increase exposure because an imbalanced microbiome can affect how your body processes carbohydrates. So how do doctors help reduce this damage? The first and most critical step is reducing exposure through dietary awareness. This doesn't mean you can never enjoy a sweet treat again, but it does mean becoming mindful of how often you're spiking your blood sugar. Doctors often recommend focusing on whole, unprocessed foods, incorporating more fiber, which slows sugar absorption, and pairing carbohydrates with protein and healthy fats. Supporting nerve health directly is another key strategy. This often includes ensuring adequate intake of B vitamins, particularly B12, which are essential for nerve function. Alpha-lipoic acid is an antioxidant that research suggests may support nerve health. Omega-3 fatty acids can help reduce inflammation that damages nerves. And maintaining adequate vitamin D levels is important. Improving circulation is absolutely critical because damaged blood vessels can't deliver nutrients to nerves. Regular movement and exercise, even gentle walking, dramatically improves peripheral circulation. Staying well hydrated supports blood flow. And avoiding things that constrict blood vessels becomes even more important. Embracing anti-inflammatory habits can protect nerves from ongoing damage. This includes eating foods rich in antioxidants, getting adequate quality sleep, managing stress, and maintaining a healthy weight since excess body fat produces inflammatory chemicals. Now, I want to end with a message of hope because this is not a doom and gloom situation. Research shows that nerve damage can often be slowed, and in some cases, early damage can be partially reversed when the underlying cause is addressed. Your nerves do have some capacity to heal, especially if you catch problems early. Early intervention truly matters. Small changes can make a significant difference. You don't need to overhaul your entire life overnight. Even modest reductions in sugar intake, adding a daily walk, prioritizing sleep, and staying hydrated can begin shifting your body toward healing. Your body wants to heal. It wants to repair. Sometimes it just needs you to remove the obstacles and provide the support it needs. Understanding what's damaging your nerves is the first step. Taking action is the second step. And being consistent over time is what creates lasting change. If you learned something new today, please hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel for more senior health updates. And comment nerves below if you'd like a part 2 where I dive deeper into specific foods that support nerve healing. Your health is worth fighting for, and knowledge is your most powerful tool.